Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Monday afternoon, only here on YouTube. Want to welcome you to the July 31st, 2023 Vinyl Treasure Show, the last day of the month here. It is a special show on Monday from 1 to 3:30. I did not put the coming attraction up. Must have been all excited because of the special that Bill Old did. It was kind of like, because I was listening for the 2 hours there, so I didn't do a lot of things. I went right into pulling records out for the show today, but I apologize for that. I usually do, and I have it, because I'm doing so many things at one time, and I'm very good at multitasking. But anyway, I'm hoping little by little, I'm sure you all will get here. Just so you know, my sister's here at the house. She's with my mother downstairs, my sister Tony. So she's using my sign-on. So there you go. She is using my sign-on. So be specific if you're talking to my mother, because my sister could answer on the tablet. So she's down there. It's not that easy to type in on the tablet, but she can type with my mother wants. So there you go. I'm letting you know. But we opened up with an instrumental from 1958. Out of Los Angeles, this group best known for their 1958 number one national hit. You know the song. It was called Tequila. Came out on Gene Autry's Challenge record label. That was their first release, a big hit for them. They had 29 releases in all on Gene Autry's Challenge label. And this was the B-side to their third release. Indrajit from the UK, he recognized the song. It was called Midnighter. Actually, this record did chart on Billboard. It charted number 94. It was the flip side of a song called El Rancho Rock, which I think did better for them, but not as good as they wanted it to be, so the DJs started to flip it over. This group was named after Gene Autry's, I guess his racehorse, had a racehorse called Champ, so the group was called the Champs. There you go. April 1958 release, the third release on the Challenge label for the Champs, called Midnighters. Well, without further ado, let's continue here with the countdown. And we started off at number 115. 115. The Velours come in at number 115 with 103 points. They signed with Jerry Winston's Onyx label, but with MGM started Orbit Records, which was later changed to Cub, or very soon changed to Cub Records. Jerry Winston was put in charge of the label, so a lot of the masters were purchased by MGM Records, and so were some of the contracts, and the groups went over to the Cub record label, which included this group called the Velours. And this is the group's second single on the Cub label, and it features Troy Keyes on lead. The song is an old standard from 1939, maybe, I think, first recorded by Frank Sinatra, possibly, if I'm not mistaken. But it's with Sammy Lowe and the orchestra, coming in at number 115 with 103 points, I should say. At number 115, it had 11 mentions. It's from July 58. Let's open up the vocal portion with the Velours. The Velours on Cub, and their rendition of the tune, I'll Never Smile Again.
I'll never smile again until I smile at you. I'll never laugh again. What good would it do? For tears fill my eyes, my heart realized that our romance was through. I'll never love again. nobody knew. Within my heart, I know I'll never start to smile again until I smile at you. I'll never smile again. Do I ever love again?
That's from July 1958. Those are the Velours. The Velours, their second release on the Cub record label, I'll Never Smile Again. That featured Troy Keys on lead, and Troy Keys would later become the lead singer of the High Keys that recorded for the Atco record label. Let's continue here with the countdown here. This next group, they're from Brooklyn, New York. They returned to the survey. The flip side of this 45 came in at number 201 with 51 points, a song called Pardon My Heart. But the A-side comes in at number 114 with 104 points. It's on George Goldner's TG record label. It features Charlie Scardina on lead. We go to July of 1958, the same month and year, with the release of the Velours record, and you know, my aunt had both copies of these records in her collection. There you go. But these are the Clusters. The Clusters from July 1958 on TG Records. It's called Darling, Can't You Tell?
Ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 bells start to ring when I'm near you. My heart takes wings when I'm near you. Birds start to sing when I'm near you. Do I love you, darling? Can't you tell? Ooh la la. I see your face everywhere. In all my dreams you are there. You are my dream and my prayer. Do I love you, darling? Can't you tell? I told you all. I told you. I really love you, that's no lie. And let me give. I feel so nice. Things start happening like the 4th of July. My eyes get blurry and hazy. You make me feel so crazy. I feel so strange and so lazy. Do I love you, darling? Can't you tell? 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 I told you all. I told you. I really love you, that's no lie. And let me give. I feel so nice. Things start happening like the 4th of July. My eyes get blurry and hazy. You make me feel so crazy. I feel so strange and so lazy. Do I love you, darling? Can't you tell? Do I love you, darling? Can't you tell? Ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 la, ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 la, ooh la la, ooh la 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 la.
Coming in at number 114 on the survey from July 1958, those are the Clusters. That's the A-side of their release on TG Records, George Goldner's TG Records. Charlie Scardina, the lead singer on that. Darling, Can't You Tell is the name of the tune. That one there with, what did I say? There were 104 points. 104 points there with the clusters. Darling, can't you tell? Johnny G getting a late start here. I apologize for not putting the a coming attraction up. It was too busy yesterday. Usually it's there so people can click that. They'll get the notification. I think that's how that works. But it was like I said, my mother was like, John, where is the I don't see the email here. So I was like, oh my gosh, I never set it up. So I apologize for that. So maybe that's kind of throwing some people off. But anyway, let's continue here with entry number 113 coming in with 105 points. This is probably the hardest record to find on Joe Carlton's Carlton label, and this was a number one vote by a record collector, George Frunze of Milford, Delaware. He also does a show similar to Johnny G, just not on video, of course, down on the street corner. But this group is called the Capitals, and there were a number of groups that use this name, and this is not the group from Pittsburgh, nor is it the group that recorded for Pet Records. The writers on this are Kenneth Scott, Johnny Brantley, and Leroy Kirkland, as both those, Leroy Kirkland, a well-established band leader in the industry, writing and producing. Brantley was also a band leader and had his own release on the Carlton label, but this is coming in at number 113 on the survey from March 58. The Capitals on Carlton. It's called I Let Her Go.
I let her go. Yeah, 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 yeah. I let her go. Now I've no one to love me. She just drifted away. Stars above me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I let her go. Now my broken heart knows she's gone forever, and I will see her no more. She lied to say she loves me. She loves me. She left she would stay. Now what am I to say to her? She'll never stop treating me this way. I let her go. Now my broken heart knows she's gone forever, and I will see her no more. Now I will see her no more. Yeah, 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 yeah. I let her go.
That's a rare 45 for you collectors out there. Not easy to find this record on Joe Carlton's Carlton label. The Capitals there. Capitals coming in at number 113 on the survey from March 1958. I Let Her Go. That was a number one selection. Shows the collector in George Frunze picking that one. George Frunze from Milford, Delaware. That was his number one selection. I Let Her Go. Paid a lot of money for that record, I have to tell you. Greg Zurich sold me that 45. Where do you find another copy? I have no clue. Let's continue here with the countdown. Coming in at number 112 with 105 points is this group originally from Salisbury, Maryland. They were discovered by singer Bobby Freeman and his manager Walt Summers. They took this group to New York City to record at Bell Sound Studios, and they were signed to Morris Levy's Roulette record label. Now it features 15-year-old Howard Timothy Wilson on lead. Coming in at number 112 with 12 mentions, these are Tiny Tim and the Hits from November 1958 on Roulette Records. The song is called Wedding Bells. Coming in at number 112 on the survey with 105 points. From November of 1958, that's Tiny Tim and the Hits. Tiny Tim and the Hits on Morris Levy's Roulette record label with Howard Timothy Wilson on lead. That record had 12 mentions, a record I used to hear on the oldies circuit back in the early 1970s. A lot of people like that record. They do. We continue here with the countdown at number 111 on the survey with 110 points. And this had a number one vote by Bob Pendzich. I think that's, if I pronounce it right, Pendzich of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as we head out to California to Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin record label. Now, this song first recorded by The Concepts, a group out of Brooklyn, New York, on the Apache label. That's a hard record to find. And this is the group's first of two on the Aladdin record label. Now, all four sides that they recorded for Aladdin, they did it on August 26th of 58. And Ferdy's Disco File has this released as August 28th of 1958, so that was 2 days later, which was a common function in the 1950s to rush a record out. So this is from August 58. The Spotlighters coming in at number 111 on Aladdin, their rendition of the tune Whisper.
Whisper, 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 whisper.
that your love is mine to keep. This I won't know unless you whisper to me. Whisper to me. Say that you love me. Say we're not through. I promise you, darling, that I will be true. This is my answer. If you will whisper to me. Whisper to me. Your soft voice like an echo from afar. This feeling I feel to be where you are. The magic of your kiss, your golden touch. Just these little things is why I love you so much. Whisper, my darling, those 3 little words. Whisper, my darling, and you will be heard. I'll always love you if you will whisper to me. Whisper to me. Whisper, whisper, whisper.
Cover tunes here on the Relic Countdown. And there you go. That one there by the Spotlighters. The Spotlighters from August 1958. That's their first of 2 on Eddie and Leo Mesner's Aladdin record label. Song entitled Whisper, originally done by the Concepts out of Brooklyn on the Apache label. And that was a #1 a vote for, I would have to say, the late. I have to thank Alex Myers for letting us know in the chat room that Bob is no longer with us. Bob Penzich of Pittsburgh, PA. You have to remember that a lot of this survey was taken back in 1998, and there were surveys before it that date back to, or well, I should say the earlier surveys done in years prior, and many of the people that voted on this survey are no longer with us, unfortunately, but we still can announce their names as they were part of that, they were part of this survey, and it deserves to be mentioned, I'd say that. But the late Bob Penzich voted that one his #1 record, Whisper, from August 58 by the Spotlighters. Let's continue here. Now, we just heard from this group from Brooklyn, New York, with entry number 115, which was their second single for the Cub label. At number 110 is their very last single to come out on Jerry Winston's Onyx record label, which was their 5th single for Onyx, and their first release on the new label, also Orbit/Cub, came out on both labels. This charted on Billboard at number 83, was played here in New York radio. I know it might have even gone higher than number 23 on WMGM in New York City, but this record played on New York radio back in 1958. The song written by Arthur Cryer, Gary Morrison. They were both members of the Mellows, and label owner Jerry Winston gets credit on this. It's with Sammy Lowe and the orchestra. It features Jerome Ramos on lead, coming in at number 110 with 110 points, and 13 mentions are the sound of the Velours on Onyx, and their tune called Remember.
Remember
March 1958 release there for the Velours. That's Jerome Ramos on lead with the Velours. That's their final single on the Onyx label, Remember. Yes, Lenny, a great cha-cha, a record that my aunt had in her collection. I guess 1958 really was a great year. That's because your host, Johnny G, was born that year. All these great records coming out. Lots of cha-chas in the late 1950s. That was the dance. I don't know if it was just a fad, maybe. You know, the Lindy much earlier with those up-tempo R&B tunes, but the cha-cha big in the late 1950s. That's the Velours. The Velours coming in at number 110 with 110 points and 13 mentions. And I played it on the orange and black stock copy. MGM pressed them up with the green and black stock copies for that, and with their pressing plants. Anyway, we continue here with the countdown. Let's go back out to California for number 109 on the survey with 111 points. It's on George Mottola's Contender label out of Hollywood, California. Now, the group is a takeoff of the Hollywood Saxons, and Mottola named them the Saxons. Now, this group included Eugene Church, Gaynell Hodge, Tommy Buster Williams, and the lead singer on this, Mr. Jesse Belvin. Jesse Belvin on lead, coming in at number 109 with 10 mentions from June 1958. Let's give a listen to the Saxons. The Saxons on Contender, and they're asking a question. It's called, Is It True?
guiding star. Oh, that's what you are.
Those are the Saxons. Sound of California. Big lots of California records on the survey, by the way, like that one there. Those are the Saxons there from June 1958, coming in at number 109 on the survey. Had 10 mentions and 111 points. That's on George Mottola's Contender label. You know, he was the master of saving money with his reusing backing tracks of many records. That's how George Mottola saved money. I mean, I don't know. I guess you can do it that way, but it makes the record sometimes sound the same. But anyway, that's Jesse Belvin on lead. Jesse Belvin on lead with the Saxons at number 109, a song called Is It True? Is it true that Johnny G forgot to post a coming attraction today? Yes, it's true. And also, it's true that Johnny G is playing original Vinyl 45. So thank you all for being here. And if you are new to the program, just tuning in here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Had a whole bunch of likes, like 357 likes on Saturday night's show on one of the Facebook websites. Amazing. I didn't know, and I don't know any of those people, but they enjoy this type of music. So please continue to join in on the Vinyl Treasure Show on a Monday afternoon. But again, I'm here Saturday nights too from 9 to midnight, and I'll be back Wednesday night with a soul show from 9 to midnight with a little bit of overtime. Lots of overtime on Saturday, though. But we do only a little bit here. We go to about 3:30 here, so let's count down the records here. The RELIC survey, as voted by collectors, 1958. And my record I played last week, it was by the Inspirators, called Starlight Tonight on Old Town. Will yours be coming up soon? Maybe. Let's continue now. Coming in at number 108 is a rare 45 out of Columbus, Ohio. Came in with 115 points. It's a great two-sided 45 too, on the local Day Cell record label. This was voted number one. Two people voted this record number one. Arthur Berlowitz of Somerset, New Jersey, and Jack Saperstein of Hackensack, New Jersey, voted this number one on the survey. This song should have been included, though, in the 1959 survey, as this was released in February 59. As you can check the Columbia Matrix numbers for the date, it's with the Gene Joseph Trio. The group is called the Marquis. The Marquis, from February 1959 on Daycell Records. The song is called Ecstasy, the Marquis.
Ecstasy, ecstasy, that's what your love has been to me. Surely it wasn't meant to be, just a memory. You were mine, and with you life was so divine. Can you see you were meant to be my one ecstasy? Just a memory. Just a memory.
That's Coming in at number 108 on the survey. Originally released, though, in February of 59. That should have been on the 1959 ballot. Would still have made the survey for sure. But that was a number one entry, voted entry for Arthur Berlowitz of Somerset, New Jersey, and Jack Saperstein of Hackensack, New Jersey. As those are the Marquis. The Marquis, not to be confused with a group out of Washington, D.C. with the same name, and another group from Los Angeles, California. They spell it the same way, too, with two E's. And I won this mint copy. It was interesting. This mint copy was years ago, though, on eBay. A record listed as the Gene Joseph Trio. Gene Joseph Trio. They didn't list it as the Marquis, so it probably sipped through. I mean, what did I pay? Like $198 for the record. And it was a stone mint. It's styrene, and you know how Johnny G hates styrene. But anyway, that coming in at number 108. Ecstasy on Daysell Records by the Marquis. I have to apologize, Gordy. I neglected to post the coming attraction of the show last night. So this afternoon, my mother's like, John, I don't see the post. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not there? I was, holy moly, I didn't do it last night. So what happens is I still can copy the same, because when I sign in to do this show, it tells me, do you want to copy the same controls that you did with the previous show? So I do, and then I edit the title, and then it posts up there. Now, I don't know if you guys and gals get an email or not, but it may send out an email automatically. So unfortunately that didn't happen, but it should have happened with a later email, because they do send out another email, which I get all the time. So and sometimes it's a little bit late. I don't know what YouTube does. Listen, I am under their control. I really can't control the uncontrollable, but I do apologize. The good thing is you can go back and you can watch what you've missed. So we've been on now for 46 minutes here, so I apologize. Yes, you do have to police. Gordy, she was chatting before in the chat room because my sister was downstairs. She has since left, so she said hi to everybody in the chat room. So if my sister, because my sister recently retired, so she came over today and she typed a little bit. So Tony, you should be here, not have gone out. But anyway, let's continue here with the countdown. Let's go back to Brooklyn for entry number 107 with 115 points and 11 mentions. This is on Thomas Robinson's Angletone record label. Now, the person that introduced me to this record, I was at a Montvale record show in New Jersey. I forget the hotel that had it, but it's not that far. It's not that far from Butler Aviation there in Montvale. I used to work there. I was doing work for A&P when I used to work for Resources Global Professionals. I used to do their auditing papers. But I'm talking way before that. There was a record show there at that, was it a Sheraton? I don't know what hotel it was, but I walk in there, one of the first shows I ever go to, and there's this tall, skinny guy there. His name was Eric Ashton, and so he had a bunch of records, and he showed me a record, I think the Cosmic Rays on Saturn. It was Daddy Gonna Tell No Lie, and he had a bunch of other records, and he said to me, you can't buy this record, and I don't want you to tell Greg Surik about it. Which I didn't know who Greg was at the time, but he showed me a copy of this next record. He said, do you know this record? And I said, well, I know of the Phytyones, but I don't know of this record. And it comes in at number 107 on the survey. So I purchased my first copy from him, which played horrible. These records play horrible, especially the stock copies. The promos play a little better. I don't know what they did, recycled vinyl or whatever you want to call it, but the promo is best to have on this record. I just couldn't locate it for today's show. Now, the song written by the lead singer of the group, his name is Lloyd Davis, coming in at number 107 from May 1958 with 115 points and 11 mentions. The Phytyones. The Phytyones on Angletone. It's called You'll Be the Last.
Some people search for love all their lives, not knowing when it comes along. But darling, you're the one I desire. I know with you I can't be wrong. You know I've had other loves many times in the past, and though you're not the first I've loved, darling, you'll be the last. I've been a fool, such a fool, taking life much too fast. And though you're not the first I've loved, darling, you'll be the last. I'm sure that you know all that I've been through, and darling, my past will show how much I've needed someone like you. I never want to escape from the spell that you cast, and though you're not the first I've loved, darling, you'll be the last. I swear, my darling, you'll be the last.
That's actually my favorite Phytyones song, I have to tell you that. Coming in at number 107 on the survey from May 1958 with 115 points and 11 mentions. Those are the Phytyones. The Phytyones with You'll Be the Last, featuring Lloyd Davis on lead. It was funny because he played this record on like those little record players, and he was singing it. He was singing it in the show there, and it wasn't really a big venue, really, but it was pretty cool. I ended up buying the record. Now, there's actually a typesetting error on the label, by the way, so they left off the S. So it says the Phytone. It should be the Phytones. Lots of spelling errors with the typesetting on many of the labels. I think I have a reissue by the Moonglows called I Knew From the Start. Now, they either left off the K or they made it N-E-W. I Knew From the Start. Oh, well. Anyway, let's continue here on the Relic Countdown, and we move to entry number 106, and it's the flip side we heard earlier in the survey at number 260 by a group called the Preludes. The Preludes, the flip side of this had with 35 points was the song called Kingdom of Love. Came out on the MGM subsidiary Cub Records, and the group was from the Bronx, New York. Now, the lead singer on this, his name was Robert Miano, and he was just 15 years old when he recorded this tune. Now, he would go on to become a pretty successful actor in his own right, and he still is active today acting. He is 80 years old. He's 80 years old, and he's still acting. Basically, he was a character actor for over 30 years, appearing in hundreds of feature films and numerous TV programs, probably best known for his, I guess, mobster characters. I think he was Sonny Red in the 1997 movie Donnie Brasco with Johnny Depp, and I forget who else was in there. He also co-starred in the film The Funeral with the Christopher Walken, but here he is doing lead with a vocal group out of the Bronx, New York. They're called the Preludes. Now, this record received 2 number 1 votes, Richard Dutton of West Orange, New Jersey. It was his number one pick. And Ken Schreiber of Randallstown, Maryland, was their number one pick, coming in at number 106 on the survey from May 1958. The Preludes on Cub. It's called Vanishing Angel.
Once I had an angel that lived within my heart. I loved her and I cherished her with all my loving heart.
Then one day the angel departed from me and vanished to another world and vanished and vanished.
Every day I hoped and prayed that she'd come back to me someday and love me as she did before and be the one that I adored. Angel, my vanishing angel. The angels from above told me of your love. I knew you would be true. But then you went away to come another day. But I'm still waiting for you. Every day I hoped and prayed that she'd come back to me someday and love me as she did before and be the one that I
There you go, coming in at number 106 on the survey from May 1958, the Preludes. The Preludes on the Cub record label. Vanishing Angel is the name of the tune. That had 117 points and 9 mentions. And again, that was a number one vote for two people. Richard Dutton of West Orange, it's not New York, it's New Jersey, and Ken Schreiber of Randallstown, Maryland. There you go. And I really don't know where you can find the. I mean, if you send me an email, I can put you in touch with Bruce Grossberg, and he may still know, or he may know. I know he has all the surveys, but he was part of our chat room, but he is no longer part of the chat room, unfortunately. But I can refer you to him, and maybe he can tell you where they are. I don't know if they're on the internet anywhere. I have copies because I voted in the survey, so I have both the ballots and also the results. I think going back to at least 54 is when I think I first started voting. Maybe not, or I was able to get them from 54, but I have voted. I did vote in all the years. I was listening to the R&B Review as they would play the top 100, I think, and there was also a cassette cassettes that you could purchase at the time from the RELIC record shop. George Lavatelli would put those out, and he would mail them out to you. But I don't know if the surveys are available on the internet anywhere, but I have the hard copies. That's how it goes. Let's continue here on Vinyl Treasures, and we are at number, excuse me, we are at number 105, coming in at number 105 with 115 points. This was a number one selection of Bill Van of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Now, this group is out of Richmond, Virginia. Now, this is on the Bow record label. Bow Records, a subsidiary of Arrow Records, which was a label originally out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, but they relocated their offices to New York City. Now, in the June 30, 1958 edition of Billboard magazine, Arrow Records announced that it had signed 2 new acts to its labels, and they were out of Richmond, Virginia. One was a gal by the name of Dora Tapp, which I have that single on the Arrow label, and the other was this group that made it to number 105 on the survey. And both acts were managed by a DJ at WANT in Virginia, WAAT. His name was Bill Gibbons. Bill Gibbons coming in at number 105 from October 1958. Let's give a listen to the Chuckalucks. The Chuckalucks on the Bow record label. It's called Heaven Knows, parentheses, I Love You. The Chuckalucks at number 105.
Heaven knows I love you.
Heaven knows I love you, the angels do too. But darling, I wonder, do you? Oh, darling, please say it's me you adore.
You I adore.
The stars how they twinkle and sparkle at night. The moon, yes, it glows so yellow and bright. Oh, darling, please say it's me you adore. Your letters were so sweet and gay. But darling, I'm blue since you went away. Yes, I love you, darling. Want you for my own. Oh, darling, I love you. Oh, heaven knows I love you. The angels do too. But darling, I wonder, do you? Oh, darling, please say it's me you adore. Please say it's you.
Coming in at number 105 on the survey from October 1958. That's on the Bow record label. They're called the Chuckalucks. The Chuckalucks. Chuckalucks with Heaven Knows I Love You is the name of the tune. Came in with 115 points, a number one selection for Bill Van of Lawrenceville, Georgia. And interesting to know that Wayne Sterling would get the rights to issue this on his Candlelight record label. And I have to congratulate listener Bill Olb. I was listening to his interesting special show yesterday on Frank Chingaro and Gordon Skagberg's Rhythm and Blues Serenade, a show that was a tribute to the late Wayne Sterling, as he would really secure the rights to a lot of records and put it out on his Candlelight record label. It was such an interesting show, Bill. I really enjoyed it. Want to tell you that, as I received lots of emails from listeners that were tuned in to that program yesterday afternoon. Let's continue here on the countdown with this great group from Harlem, New York. They returned to the survey at number 104. Previously, I featured them at number 214 with their song called A Teenage Quarrel. That was their first release on the Orbit/Cub record label. And then at number 163, they had a song called Please that made the survey, their third release for Cub. Well, here they are with their second release on Cub, coming in at number 104. This was their second of 10 on the MGM subsidiary Cub Records. This is with Morty Kraft and his orchestra from November of 1958. It features the great lead of Roy Pollard. These are the Wanderers. The Wanderers on Cub at number 104. It's called Two Hearts on a Window Pane.
Hearts on a window pane. Two hearts on a window pane. Two hearts on a window pane, drawn with drops of falling rain. One of them is yours, the other is mine. Never clear makes my picture disappear. Go on, let it pour, so I can have more of two hearts on a window pane. It's been so long since we've been together, so close together out in the rain. I always yearn for more stormy weather, to be with you again. Our hopes that still remain, so softly humming love's refrain, to relieve this waiting patiently. Must there only be just two hearts on a window? Two hearts on a window pane. Two hearts on
Coming in at number 104 from November 1958, those are the Wanderers. Ray Pollard and the Wanderers was also a favorite singer for Wayne Sterling. What a great voice. A lot of people like that voice there in the YouTube chat room there. The Wanderers on the Cub record label with 119 points, 15 mentions on that song. From November 58, Two Hearts on a Window Pane. If you're new to the program here, just tuning in, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the bell to get notifications, as I did not put out the coming attraction, so that's why the notification didn't go out to some of you, so that is a bummer. I apologize for that, but you can always come back and watch on the rerun, and the chat will not be up. It takes a little bit of time for the chat to be up, and you can email me at vinyltreasures@AOL.com if you're digging what Johnny G is doing. Also, please give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. Let's continue now with the countdown and entry number 103. Now, this record should not have been included in the 1958 survey. This should have been in the 1959 survey. Now, the group recorded this on a session up in Chicago they did on May 10th of 1959, and they recorded it at the Checker, wherever Checker had their studios for recording, which was up in Chicago, for Jerry Herman's Note label. And the Note Records was out of Indianapolis, Indiana, but the group is out of Cincinnati, Ohio. This was their second release, came out on the Note record label. Their first, which was in 1958, a killer two-sided record, and I know you'll probably hear later on the countdown, not today, but at a later date, the Ace... what did I want to say? But this is the A-side to their second release. It features Leroy King on lead. From this one, released probably in mid 1959, not in 1958. It was recorded in 59 on the Note label. Let's give a listen to The Students, a record I first heard on the Gus Gossard Show. The Students on Note. It's called That's How I Feel. That's coming in at number 103 on the survey. That's Leroy King and the Students. That's their second release on Jerry Herman's Note Records out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Mid-1959 release. This should have been on the 59 ballot, not on the 58 ballot. That's How I Feel is the name of the tune. That's the flip side of... My Vow to You. And Jerry Herman would contract with Leonard Chess to have the Students' records distributed nationally on his Checker label. And this particular song wasn't issued until January of 62. Came out on the Checker label. Of course, their first release came out in 1958 on Checker. But this one, I don't know why they waited or what happened with it. Maybe they wanted to see if there was going to be some more action on the record, I don't know, but there was a delay in the release of this record there on Checker, but first came out on Note and really should have been in the 59 survey. Let's continue here with the fifth song we are featuring by this great girl group out of the Bronx, New York. They are Arlene Smith and her Chantels. They recorded for George Gollner's End record label, now with entry number 267, which was their fifth release for End. Sure of Love made the survey. Number 186 was the B-side to their fourth release that I featured here on the program, How Could You Call It Off? And entry number 178 was their sixth release on End, was called If You Try, and entry number 169 was the flip side of their fifth release called Pray. And here they are again with their fifth entry on the survey, which is a B-side to the group's third release. I'm sure we're going to hear the flip side of this later on, but a tune written by Fran Manfield. Fran Manfield, who also recorded for Royal Roost Records back in 1956. Maybe you know her song called Oh My Darling, Don't You Know? But here is number 102 with 122 points and 12 mentions from February 1958. It's Arlene Smith and the Chantels at number 102 for End Records. It's called Whoever You Are. From February 1958, coming in at number 102 on the survey, those are the Chantels. The Chantels with Arlene Smith on lead. Whoever You Are is the name of the tune. That one there on George Goldner's End record label. 122 points for that song and 12 mentions. That's the flip side. That's actually the B-side to Every Night I Pray, which I'm sure will make the survey later on. Let's continue here on the 1958 Relic Countdown with another group that returns to the survey. They were from Queens, New York. We heard at number 263 their third release on Sid Nathan's deluxe label. It was called Five Little Kisses, and their debut single came in at number 157 with 70 points. Their song called My Darling. This is the group's fourth release for the deluxe folks, of which a shorter version would be released in the year 1961 and become the group's biggest hit. Not to mention it made the Billboard chart. It did the second time around, but the first time around, this was the group's final original release. On Sid Nathan's deluxe records, they were called the Chanters. It features Larry Pendergrass on lead, coming in at number 101 with 103 points and 18 mentions from October 58. These are the Chanters on deluxe and the longer version of the song. It's called No, No, No.
No, 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 don't kiss me anymore. No, 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 I told you once before. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore.
No means yes, yes, yes.
I love you, and no one else will do. My heart sings, don't ever say we're through. Please tell me our love was meant to be. Please be mine. You know I love you with all my heart. Please don't say that we will ever part. Your kisses thrill me when you are in my arms. Kiss me, darling, I'm lost in your charms. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore. No, 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 I told you once before. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore.
No means yes, yes, yes.
No, 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 don't kiss me anymore. No, 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 I told you once before. No, 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 don't kiss me anymore.
No means yes, yes, yes.
Coming in at number, lost my place, at number 101 from October 1958, those are the Chanters. The Chanters with No, 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 that one there on Sid Nathan's deluxe record label. And for their last release, I don't know why they did it, they put on the label Bud Johnson and the Chanters. And what I have here, I have some information here. And I don't know why they did that, but maybe for others to think it was Buddy Johnson, but really Bud Johnson Jr., his son, was a member of this Chanters group, but this and his father was not that Buddy Johnson and his orchestra originally with his sister Ella. This is just with the same name. His name, I think he was a sax man. This, his father, I should say, Bud Johnson Jr.'s father was a baritone saxman and band leader. His name was Albert Bud Johnson. So maybe he was on the record. I don't know why they did that. But anyway, that is a longer version. I don't know how many seconds. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds or so longer than the 1961 release. But there you go, number 101 from October 1958 on Deluxe. No, No, No is the name of that one. We continue here with entry number 100. We get to entry number 100. I don't think they played this on the R&B review. I think they started with number 50 when they did it the last time. Maybe they were preempted with football or something, so they were only able to get 50 records on that R&B review show. But entry number 100 comes in with 125 points and 9 mentions. They're out of New Orleans, Louisiana. This song first released on the local Sapphire label. It was located at 533 Canal Street in New Orleans. Has anybody ever been to Canal Street in New Orleans? I have not. And I don't like crayfish, that's for sure. But the master was purchased by Checker Records in December of 1958, and they released a shorter version, 14 seconds shorter if you have it on Checker Records, so you're going to get gypped. You got to get the original. The Checker record came out in January of 59, but this one released in December of 58. I'm spinning the true first press on Sapphire. It features Simon Washington on lead, coming in at number 100 on the RELIC survey, The Moonbeams. The Moonbeams from December 58. It's called Cryin' the Blues. See, that's got the longer ending. If you have the checker release, you miss out on that long ending there. Coming in at number 100 from December 1958, that's first on the Sapphire label, was picked up in January 59 on the checker label. Those are the Moonbeams. Moonbeams with Simon Washington on lead, and that had 125 points and 9 mentions. Cryin' the Blues is the name of that one. We'll send that one out to someone out there critiquing Johnny G as he's crying the blues here. What a great record that is. I know, Warren, you like that record, don't you? I do too. Let's continue here. Let's continue here in the countdown with number 99. Now, we closed last week's Relic Countdown with this group from Harlem, New York. And I'm talking about Earl Lewis and the Channels at number 116 with 103 points. I featured their second release on George Goldner's Gone record label. It was called Altar of Love. That came in at number 116 on the survey. Well, the flip comes in at number 99 on the survey with 126 points and 11 mentions. Co-written by the great lead singer of the group, that is Earl Lewis. Earl Lewis and the Channels coming in at number 99 from January 58. It is the B-side to Altar of Love. On Gone Records, it's called All Alone. B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure show, coming in at number 99 from January 1958. That's Earl Lewis and the Channels with the flip side of Altar of Love on George Goldner's Gone record label. All Alone is the name of the tune. Earl Lewis and the Channels there with a what I say here, 126 points and 11 mentions. Johnny G here on a Monday. We're here from 1 to 3:30, and this will be a special show right now. The last number of weeks we've been counting down the 1958 Relic Survey. I may do others later on in the year, and a couple people I was talking to, some of the records I don't have on original, but maybe I'll have to play the bootleg, because not many people own the original originals on a lot of these records, but that might be in the works, but we'll see. Let's continue here. Just hope you're digging on these tunes here, and let's go to entry number 98 on the survey. This is also a flip of a 45. We heard, I think it was last week, number 124 with 95 points was the B-side to this 45. Came out on Don Carter's and Don Roby's Pet label. The song was called Angel, but this is the intended A-side. It's with Buddy Lucas and his orchestra. Came in with 128 points and 11 mentions. 11 mentions. It's from April of 1958. Let's give a listen to The Gay Knights. The Gay Knights at number 98 on Pet Records. It's called The Loudness of My Heart.
Of my heart,
He's beat of my heart. He's so loud and clear. He's beat of my heart. He's tied your neck.
each beat of my heart, yeah, beats so loud and clear. Beat of my lonely heart. Well, each time you're near me, each beat of my heart brings you one step closer to me. Each beat of my heart, dear, means I adore you so much. Beat of my lonely heart means I need you so much. Never let you go, because I love you so. Each beat of my heart, dear, beats so loud and clear. Beat of my lonely heart. Well, each time you're near me, beat of my heart brings you one step closer to me.
April 1958 release there for the Gay Knights, coming in at number 98 on the survey. That's on Don Carter and Don Roby's Pet Records out of New York City, The Loudness of My Heart. I have featured it on the Pink promos. They play better than those lime green stock copies, by the way. And I bought that, from Joel Scherzer when he was selling out his collection. Had a nice copy of that. Was lucky to get a nice clean copy of the Gay Knights at number 98. 98 with 128 points and 11 mentions. As we continue here with the Relic Countdown, if you're new to the program, like I said, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tell your friends about it. Nobody does this. Nobody does what Johnny G does, so I hope you're digging on the cool labels and whatnot to see these records here. But interesting song coming in at number 97 with 130 points. It received 8 mentions, 2 people voted this record number 1. 2 people voted this a number 1 selection, and they were 2 people from California. Opal Nations of Oakland, California. It was his number 1 selection, and also for David Howell of Pleasanton, California. It's on Vivian Carter's VJ record label. Now, the Croom brothers, they were a gospel singing family out of Chicago, Illinois, and they occasionally branched out to secular R&B music, and this tune, written by the lead singer, his name is Dillard Croom Jr. And the first time I heard this song was off of a VJ compilation LP. It was issued in 1963. It was called Nitty Gritty, which I think I finally bought from Brian Korn. I think I bought Norm's copy of that LP. I had to have it, even though I had the record, but it was on that LP, Nitty Gritty. And I went to visit a collector. It was a long time ago. It was in the 1980s. He was from Yonkers, New York, and he was selling out his collection. Of course, I wasn't the first one to get there, but it was so long ago. His name was John Pagnotta. I think he has since passed away, but he played this song for me off of that LP, and at one time, I think he had all of the VJ singles. I mean, all of the singles he had. But I bought lots of 45s from him on that day, and unfortunately, he already sold this one, but I ended up getting a copy of this, and this was a number 15 record on WGES in Chicago, coming in at number 97 from June of 1958. Dillard Croom Jr. and the Croom Brothers on VJ Records. It's called It's You I Love at number 97.
Sweetheart, believe me, it's you I love. I solemnly swear by the heavens above, it's you and you alone that I want to be near. Tell me if you love me too. When I'm alone, I think of you. It seems like nobody else will do. Please tell me that you love me too. Sweetheart, believe me, it's you I love. If you tell me you're mine, it will ease my aching heart. The pain is so hard to bear, but it leaves whenever you're near. Oh, when I'm alone, I think of you. It seems like nobody else will do. Please tell me that you love me too. Sweetheart, believe me, it's you I love.
Coming in at number 97 on the survey from June 1958. That's Dillard Croom Jr. and the Croom Brothers on Vivian Carter's VJ Records out of Chicago, Illinois. It's You I Love, number one selection for two people, Opal Nations of Oakland, California, and David Howell of Pleasanton, California. It's a great tune. I paid $200 for that record from Barry Soltz a long, long time ago, and I really don't don't see many copies of that record around at all. Really, a great tune there. As we continue here on the Relics countdown, the Relic Shop countdown of 1958 as voted by collectors. Let's go to Brooklyn, New York for number 96 on the survey, coming in with 132 points and 9 mentions, and this was a number 1 selection by 2 people also. Ed Goldberg of New City, New York, and Neil Grossman of New City, New York. Hey, they both lived in New City, New York. Maybe this was a big record there. And it's on Bobby Robinson's Fury record label, the group named after a Canadian brand of cigarettes. Do we have any? Well, I know we have ex-smokers out there. Do we have any smokers out there? Does anybody remember a cigarette called Demoriers? Demoriers, the Demoriers cigarette, whatever that is. I never smoked, so I can't tell you. But if anyone ever smoked that, how are they? I mean, are they different than the normal ones? I know my Aunt Mary smoked Cools, and my Uncle Rocco smoked Marlboros. But that's what they did back in the 50s. But this is the intended B-side of their 45, coming in at number 96. The Demoriers from March of 1958 on Fury Records. It's called Baby I Love You, the ballad side. Joe Shacatano must be in ecstasy. Coming in at number 96 on the survey, the Demoriers. The Demoriers, named after a Canadian cigarette, but that one there sounding a lot better, I'd say, than smoking a cigarette, that is for sure. March 1958, the Demoriers on Fury Records number 96 with 132 points and 9 mentions. That's the B-side of the 45. It's called Baby I Love You. Let's move to number 95 now by this great group from Brooklyn, New York. Comes in at number 95 on the RELIC survey with 132 points and 11 mentions. They had 7 releases on Paul Winley's Winley record label. This is their third, and it features the falsetto lead of Julius McMichael. Now, this song should have been on the 1957 ballad, another error here. And so this is the follow-up to Let's Start All Over Again, which came out in July of 1957. This song released in November of 57, but it gets on the 1958 survey. Either way, it's a great tune. These are the Paragons. The Paragons on Winley at number 95. It's called Two Hearts Are Better Than One. That's the sound of the Paragons coming in at number 95 on the survey. Released in November of 1957. This should have been on the 1957 ballot, but somehow it gets on the 1958 ballot. That's Julius McMichael singing in falsetto. The whole song in falsetto. Two Hearts Are Better Than One. That's their third release on Paul Winley's Winley record label. 132 points and 11 mentions on that tune here. And coming up is number 94. It's a flip side we heard earlier. Coming in at number 210 with 47 points. That song was called I'll Forget About You, as done by a group called The Crowns. Now, this, what did I say here? This group from, that's what I meant to say, this group from 1958 included James Papa Clark, Doc Green Jr., Ellsbury Hobbs, Benjamin Earl Nelson, a.k.a. that's Benny King, and Charlie Thomas. And that lineup would later record as the Drifters on Atlantic, minus James Papa Clark, who was replaced by Reggie, was it Reggie Kimber I have here? I don't know if that's right. I think that's right. And of course, they had their first song was the song called "There Goes My Baby." That one there released in May of 1959. But prior to that, that group, or most of that group, recorded as the Crowns. And this is on Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann's R&B label. And Pomus and Schumann also wrote the tune. Now, the lead singer on this is Charlie Thomas. Of course, he would later become the lead singer of the Drifters. Now, this charted number 3 on a KASL in Newcastle, Wyoming. And it comes in at number 94 on the RELIC survey with 133 points and 14 mentions for February 58. The Crowns on R&B. It's called Kiss and Make Up.
Well, pop up, dooby-dooby-doo, pop up, dooby-dooby-doo, pop up, dooby-dooby-doo, pop. Come on, kiss and make up. Stop acting like a foolish child. Is this a game? Am I on trial? Well, alright, you were right, I was wrong. Come on, kiss and make up. The thing has gone far enough. Why don't you stop this kid stuff? Well, if you do, me and you can get along. We had a quarrel, a silly, 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 silly quarrel. You said this was the end, we couldn't even be friends. Please hear my plea. Come back to me, come on, kiss and make up. Run right into my loving arms. I'll never do you any harm. Don't go away, come back and stay where you belong. We had a quarrel, a silly, 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 silly quarrel. You said this was the end, we couldn't even be friends. Please hear my plea. Come back to me, come on, kiss and make up. Run right into my loving arms. I'll never do you any harm. Don't go away, come back and stay where you belong. Don't go away, come back and stay where you belong. Don't go away, come back and stay where you belong. Don't go away, come back and stay where you belong. Don't go away, come back and stay where you belong.
As Charlie Thomas. Charlie Thomas on lead with the Five Crowns. February 1958 release coming in at number 94 on the survey. Kiss and Make Up is the name of the tune. It's on the R&B record label there. Of course, Charlie Thomas went on to be the lead singer of one of the many lead singers of the Drifters there. And that is a flip side of I'll Forget About You that made the survey at number 210. But let's continue here on Vinyl Treasures, and we are up to number 93 on the survey. This record comes in with 137 points and 14 mentions, and this was a number 1 vote for Paul Bozuski of Union, New Jersey. Now, this group is called the Chessmen, and their debut single, which came out on the Safari label, was called Why. It made it on the survey at number 284 with 30 points. But this was the follow-up, and this record never should have been on the survey. This should have been in the 1959 survey, not the 1958 survey. Yet another mistake here. But this record was reviewed February 7th of 1959, the February 7th edition of Cashbox Magazine. They reviewed this record, so there you go. This should have been in 1959. And It features Bobby Fuentes. Bobby Fuentes on lead from January 59, coming in at number 93, and a number one vote for Paul Bozuski of Union, New Jersey. These are the Chessmen. The Chessmen on Mirasonic. It's called I Live for You.
I live for you all the whole day through, with each setting sun and a new day that's begun. I live for you with my heart and soul, just to have you love me is the thing that's my goal. All I want, dear, is you live for me. All I want, dear, is you live for me. I live for you.
Yeah, coming in at number 93 on the survey, released in January 59. This should have been put in on the January 59 ballot, but we'll take it on the 1958 ballot. I Live for You. Those are the Chessmen on Mirasonic with the Bobby Fuentes on lead. I bought that record, I think, from Seymour Simon. I think he sold me that 45 when he needed to sell it. Well, when he was selling out his records and paying some bills, I bought that from him. And Bobby Fuentes would later sing lead for the Preludes 5 that recorded on the Pick label back in 1961. Don't You Know Love and Starlight. That's him on lead with that group. Johnny G here on a Monday afternoon. We're spinning these 1958, well, most of them, 1958 45's on the RELIC survey as voted by collectors back in 1998. And let's go to this next tune. Now, the first time I heard this next song was on Norman Knight's Night Train show. I think he used to be on, what, was he on NBC? Or no, NBC. NBC AM radio, I think, and then he ended up on CBS FM for a while. I think that was pre-Don K. Reed, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. But the group is from Brooklyn, New York, coming in at number 92 with 139 points and 16 mentions. And this is one of the many groups discovered by band leader Al Brown. Now, I think in the group's infancy, their debut single came out in 1957 on the Peak label. It was called Missing You, but there was some personnel changes, and then Al Brown would team up with Florence Greenberg. She owned the Scepter label, and record the group's next single. That was distributed, I think at this time, 1958, distributed by George Gollner. Now, there were some member changes from the 57 group, and this group included Bruce Edwards, Charles Miller, Thomas Smith, and the lead singer on this, his name is Eddie Parducci on lead. This is from December 1958, coming in at number 92. Eddie and the Starlights on Scepter Records. It's called To Make a Long Story Short at number 92.
To make a long story short, I love you. To make a long story short, I need you. And I knew right from the start that you were meant for me. You were meant for me. To make a long story short, I love you. To make a long story short, I need you. And I knew right from the start that you were meant for me. I could write you a letter and say our love is real, but then you wouldn't really know exactly how I feel. Oh, to make a long story short, I love you. To make a long story short, I need you. Come back to me, my love. You are my only love. Make a long story short. You are my only love. Make a long story short. You are my only love. Make a long story short.
December 1958 release there for Eddie and the Starlights. Eddie Parducci is the lead singer on that one. That came out on Florence Greenberg's Scepter Records at number 92 on the survey. To make a long story short, now Gordy mentions in the chat room that Eddie sang later with the 5 discs at the performances that the 5 discs would do on the circuit there. Interesting. As we continue here on the Relic countdown here, coming in at number 91 on the survey with 140 points and 13 mentions. This group is out of Cleveland, Ohio, and their second release made the survey earlier at number 198 with 51 points. The song was called Why Treat Me This Way. That came out on the Neptune label out of Newark, New Jersey, but this is their debut single, making it in at number 91, and it's a rare record too, by the way. Tune written by, or co-written by, the lead singer. His name is Robert Chalmers. Robert Chalmers on lead. This is on the Studio label, which was out of Cleveland, Ohio. This is a 1958, the El Palos at number 91 on Studio. It's called These 4 Letters.
These 4 letters control your hopes, my wants, and our dreams. dance around your life with light. Boom, 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 boom. Can they pat you on the shoulder and whisper, everything's gonna be alright? If you do your part, then I'll do mine. Then these four letters can't help but bring us joy and peace of mind. These four letters control.
That's a rare 45 out of Cleveland, Ohio, coming in at number 91 on the survey with 140 points and 13 mentions. The El Palos. The El Palos, their debut single on the studio label, These Four Letters. Tune co-written by the lead singer Robert Chalmers. 1958 release there. Greg sold me that record. That goes, Johnny, you have this. I said, no, I don't have it. What is it? He goes, it's the El Palos. This is their first record. You got to get this record. And that's what Greg used to do. He used to call me up when he used to find these doubles. Oh, doubles. Anyway, let's continue here with on the countdown. And here's another group we heard from earlier in the survey. Coming in at number 282 was the B-side of this single, a song called Ozita. But the A-side comes in at number 190 with 140 points and 15 mentions. Now, they're called the Magnificents. Now, this is on Vivian Carter's VJ record label, but this is not the original group that recorded for VJ Records, the one led by Johnny Keys. Of course, they would have a hit in 57 or a well-known record, Up on the Mountain. But the group disbanded in 1957, and VJ recorded another group in their studios. They were called the Five Wonders, but when the record was released, the brass at VJ decided to change the name of the group. He said, well, let's put it out as the Magnificents. They'll think it's the same group, plus they're established here. Let's do it. So that's what they did. They put it out on a 45 as the Magnificents, coming in at number 90 on the survey from May 58. The Magnificents on VJ. It's called Don't Leave Me.
Dun 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 doody wah, dun 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 oh. Dun 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 doody wah.
Says
coming in at number 90 on the survey, 140 points there, 15 mentions on that record there. I always liked that tune, The Magnificence from May 1958, Vivian Carter's VJ Records for that one. Don't Leave Me is the name of the tune. I remember I sent in I used to listen to Bobby O and Jivin' Joe, and I was in high school. So he goes, you can send your requests in to P.O. Box whatever. So, normally you're going to send in a request, maybe a couple records, maybe 5 records or something. Well, I sent him 200 records. I wish I could have saw his face when he opened up that letter. I sent him 200 records that I didn't know that I wanted to hear, and that was one of them. He picked out one, and actually I used my aunt's name, Mary Manella. So I don't know, the show was on early. He was doing a special show. I think it was WHBI, I think. It was an early morning show, and he goes, here's a request for Mary Manella in Terrytown, New York. In North Terrytown, New York. These are the Magnificents with Don't Leave Me. I was like floored. I says he picked one record off her list, and I think mine was When I Woke Up This Morning or something by the Bop Chords. Something like that. I think I have it on tape if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here with the countdown at number 89, coming in with 143 points and 16 mentions. Another group out of Brooklyn, New York. Lots of groups out of Brooklyn today on the survey. And I remember hearing this song on lots of oldie stations back in the 1970s and 1980s, but nobody knows a lot about this group, though. The tune written by Vinny Catalano and Anthony Barnadez. I think that if I spelled it right. And this one produced and arranged by Billy Muir, who used to be a Facebook friend of mine. I used to communicate with him until he passed away. He was up there in age, but he played guitar on Bobby Freeman's Do You Want to Dance, that guitar riff, that's him. But he produced and arranged this record, coming in at number 89 on the survey from November 1958, The Pyramids. The Pyramids on the Shell label. It's called Ankle Bracelets at number 89.
Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love. Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love.
Oh, darling, I need you so, not bother what you do. Ties my heart tonight.
Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love.
I love you, believe me. How can't you see? Without you, I'm lonely. Every day would be.
Ankle bracelet, symbol of my love. Let the whole world see that you belong to me. Oh, how I yearn for your kiss. Tell me you'll be mine, my one and only. Fill my heart with bliss. Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love. Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love.
Oh, darling, I need you so, not bother what you do. Ties my heart tonight.
Ankle bracelet, symbol of my love. Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love. Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love. Wear this ankle bracelet, symbol of my love.
That record had a second go-round where Shell Records re-released it with a different label style there, but originally came out on the original Shell label with the two shells on the label. You saw it. It's a great label. That is the true first press. Those are the Pyramids from November 1958, coming in at number 89 on the survey with 143 points and 16 mentions. Ankle Bracelet, the name of the tune. It's on the Shell record label. We continue here for record number 88. Now, the owner of Times Square Records, or the one that I dealt with, that would be Louis Silvani. I never spoke or dealt with Slim. I was much too young back then. I know some of you listening have, for sure, but Louis Silvani considers this next record to be the best group harmony 45 to come out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And this came out on Joe Ruffino's Rick record label. Now, there's not much information on this group, but they are known as the Velvetiers, and it's coming in at number 88 on the RELIC survey with 144 points and 14 mentions. I forget what I paid for this, but it was not a cheap record. It's from August 58 at number 88. The Velvetiers on Rick. It's called Oh Baby. That is a collector's item. I have to say, those are the Velvetiers. Velvetiers coming in at number 88 on the survey from August 1958 on Joe Ruffino's Rick label, Oh Baby, the name of the tune, and that one there coming in with 144 points and 14 mentions. I think I paid less than $1,000 for the record. I think at the time, remember it's a long time ago, sometime in the 80s, I think he charged me $750 or something like that. Greg charged me for that when I had cash in my pockets to spend on these records, but it was a nice nice copy too. And that's one of the harder records to find on the RELIC label. Johnny G here. We're counting down the music here. Almost done for the day. And this was great. These songs are, these are great records from 1958. And of course, some of them were hits. Well, some of them were hits that were played on maybe the lower end of the surveys, the radio surveys, but most of them were not really known to lots of people in the United States with these little pockets of records in these regions. So it's a good thing that I can still play these things, and you can actually see the records, which is really cool for you collectors out there. So if you are a collector of vinyl records, this is the show to tune into. So tell your fellow record collectors, and not only that, if you just love the music, to see the records, because there wouldn't be the MP3s if we didn't have these 45's or these vinyls. Anyway, let's continue here for entry number 87. I just played this record for Mike Sape in our YouTube chat room. I think, Mike, you sent this out to Jimmy Amato. I had a big response on the Saturday night show, so it's good enough to play again as it made the survey here. These are the Hollywood Flames on Lenora Roop's Ebb label. Now, Lenora Roop, she was the ex-wife of specialty label owner Art Roop. And I don't know if he gave her this label or he had to bankroll this label for her, but she was in charge of Ebb Records. And the Hollywood Flames recorded for Ebb Records. It was their 6th of 9 on Ebb Records, and it comes in at number 87 on the survey with 151 points and 11 mentions. As we go back to November of 1958, it features Earl Nelson on lead. These are the Hollywood Flames on Ebb at number 87. It's called Just For You.
As long as stars shine above, I'll be true just for you, and with one dying love meant for you, just for you. I told there's no other.
Floating tenor there. Maybe that's Jesse Belvin there with that floating tenor. I love records with the floating tenor in the background, that is for sure. Those are the Hollywood Flames from November 1958, coming in at number 87 on the survey. Earl Nelson He's the lead singer there with the Hollywood Flames. Ebb Records, Just For You. That's their 6th of 9, coming in with 151 points and 11 mentions. Let's move to number 86 as the Copyright Police are out chasing Johnny G. I'll see if they chase me on this record here, because this was a major hit. I think everybody should know this record. Coming in at number 86, came in with 151 points and 17 mentions. Now, this group was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame back in 1990. They had a slew of big hits. Many or some of them made it up to number 1 on the national charts. This is actually their 3rd number 1 record for Mercury Records. Of course, they first started at Federal Records and they moved over to Mercury Records. If you listened yesterday to Bill Obe, he had that interview that Wayne Sterling had with Tony Williams of the Platters, and they were talking about the Penguins and the Platters moving to Mercury. And it was interesting to see that Tony Williams said that he could have done at least a good job on Earth Angel. That would have been something to see, I'd say. But it was Buck Ram that brought both those groups over to the Mercury label. And it had to be a combo deal too, by the way. But anyway, coming in at number 86 on the survey from March of 1958, it's Tony Williams and the Platters, number 86 on the survey on Mercury, Tony Williams and the Platters, and their tune called Twilight Time.
Heavenly shades of night are falling. It's twilight time. Out of the mist your voice is calling. 'Tis twilight time. When purple-colored curtains mark the end of day, I'll hear you, my dear, at twilight time. Deepening shadows gather splendor as day is done. Fingers of night will soon surrender the setting sun. I count the moments, darling, till you're here with me. Together at last at twilight time. Here in the afterglow of day, we keep our rendezvous beneath the blue. Hey, in the same and sweet old way, I fall in love again as I did then. Deep in the dark, your kiss will thrill me like days of old, lighting the spark of love that fills me with dreams untold. Each day I pray for evening just to be with you. Together at last at twilight time. In the afterglow of day, we keep our rendezvous beneath the blue. In the sweet and same old way, I fall in love again as I did then. Deep in the dark, your kiss will thrill me like days of old, lighting the spark of love that fills me with dreams untold. Each day I pray for evening just to be with you. Together at last at twilight time. Together at last at twilight time.
That's Tony Williams. Whoops. Tony Williams and the Platters coming in at number 86 on the survey from March 1958. That's on the Mercury record label. 151.17 mentions. Their tune, Twilight Time. Two more 45s to go before we sign off here on the afternoon Vinyl Treasure show. And this next group, they return at entry number 85. This group from... Well, wait a minute. Do they return? Yes, they return. This group from Harlem, New York, they first recorded for Danny Robinson's Holiday record label. Now, the A side of this record came in at number 143 on the survey with 81 points. The flip side gets 151 points and 17 mentions, coming in at number 85. We go to March of 1958, same month and year as that Platters release for the Ladders. The Ladders on the Holiday label. Johnny Jackson on lead. The song is called I Want to Know at number 85. The Ladders. That's coming in at number 85 on the survey from March of 1958. Those are the Ladders, the flip side of Counting the Stars. Did I even give you the... Did I even say the flip side? I did not. I said the A side of this came in at 143, was called Counting the Stars. I neglected to put that on my cheat sheet, but this was the B side here. I Want to Know, the Ladders from March 1958 on Holiday Records, number 85 on the survey. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to these cool 45s on the Relic Countdown. If you want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com, and you can send me your requests at that same address. If you missed any of the program, it'll be on momentarily on YouTube with no chat, though. But you can also go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. You can download the show there. I'll be back next Monday beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern Time till 3:30 as we continue with the countdown. I'll be coming in this Wednesday. I couldn't do last Wednesday's show. I had my I have to get the stitches removed tomorrow. I hope he removes the stitches. They are bothering me. They are right here in my molar in the back. So that I will do tomorrow. But I'll be on Wednesday evening with the Soul Show. Tony Crosby, hopefully you'll be tuned into that show on Wednesday evening. That'll be back on Saturday night with more of your requests for the 1950s and early 60s show. That is from 9 p.m. Eastern Time till midnight with overtime, usually an hour. So thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show this afternoon. And thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. Couldn't do without Charlene. We're going to close the show tonight, or this afternoon, with a group from the Bronx, New York, coming in at number 84 with 152 points and 15 mentions. This group from the Bronx had their biggest hit in 1957 called Tell Me Why. That came out on Don Roby's Backbeat record label, but they left Backbeat Records to sign with Capitol Records, hoping to have more success. Unfortunately, it did not happen for the group, but it comes in at number 84 on the survey, a tune written by the lead singer of the group. His name is Norman Fox. This is from January, actually this says January 59, so versus 1958, but maybe it was recorded in 58. I wasn't able to really check, so I do check on these dates as best I could. So if this was ever done before, maybe we'll have a more accurate thing here, but we'll call it January 59. This one here, number 84 for Norman Fox and the Rob Roys on the Capitol label. I told you it's making Johnny G hungry because the song is called Pizza Pie. That's going to do it, folks. Thank you all for tuning in this afternoon. Hope you like it. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not, and also please give me a thumbs up if you like what I did. Anyway, folks, I gotta go. I want some pizza pie. That's our closer. Take care, everybody. So long.
Well, we were standing on the sidewalk, just admiring the view, and we thought that we would go downtown and find something to do. And we saw this place upon the corner, and it looked real swell. So we opened the door and we went inside. This is what we yell now: pizza. Hey, pizza. Well, I got a chick I really dig. I'm gonna love her all of my life. I'm gonna take her home and marry her and keep her for my wife. And when the people come and ask me the question, I'm gonna tell them why. Cause she stands in the kitchen and makes me all those great big pizza pies. Now pizza. Hey, pizza. Well, the time went by and we had some kids, and they're the apple of my eye. And they grow growing big and strong and tall, and their heads right up to the sky. Now some may wonder why they're so healthy. This is my reply: 'cause they've been born and bred and always fed on great big pizza pies. Now pizza, hey pizza. Well, and now I'm getting old, hey brother, and I'm getting ready to die. But there's one request that I must make before I hit the sky. And that request is something no man in his right mind did not deny. 'Cause when they put me 6 feet under, I'm taking a great big pizza pie. Now pizza, hey pizza pie.